another episode of the Total R&B podcast. My name is Loreena, and today I have a singer-songwriter from Calgary, Alberta, who has been writing songs since 7 years old. She came out with her debut EP back in 2021 called While You Were Sleeping. She is also CFL's official Canadian national anthem singer for the Calgary Stampeders, which is for a stadium full of like 30,000 people, which is crazy. She is a multiple Obsidian Award nominee, and her latest single, Proud, just came out on February 14th that we're going to get into. So, welcome to the podcast, Justine Tyrell. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. That intro, I feel like I'm gonna just need you to go everywhere with me. Before I enter a room, I'm gonna need you to say all that. It
But
feels good.
listen, I didn't even name everything that you do, which is crazy.
You know.
There's so much more that you've done in your career, from opening up for Ashanti, like all the performances you've been doing. You were part of like the RBC program, also with SOCAN, writing caps. Like you've done so much.
Yeah.
So we would be here forever, just listing all your
It might
accolades
be
and
a minute.
everything.
It might be a minute.
Yeah, but it's good. So congratulations on everything you've accomplished so far.
Thank you.
So, for first time guests on the podcast, I always start off with the same question because I'm
Mhm.
always curious to know what comes to mind when I say, "What is your first memory of R&B music?"
Aaliyah. Hands down. No delay needed. Aaliyah, like actually, I have her record right behind me on vinyl.
Mm.
My hubby got me for
Oh. Oh.
yeah, like, you know what? We might just put her back here. She might just stay with us.
Yeah, she got to shine with us.
Gotta shine with us. But yeah, Aaliyah was just the first, I think, real R&B album and R&B artist that I fell in love with. Not even just R&B, but music in general. That's just one of my earliest loves. She just represents it all for me.
I love that because Ali is one of my favorites also, and I just found, like, following her career, she was expanding outside of, like, what we consider R&B, like, traditional R&B, and she was going the pop route. She was doing a little bit of rock that she incorporated into that last album that you have behind you. So, I love that.
Yes.
But I also, heard also, like, when you started singing, you would mimic, different artists that I guess maybe was playing around the house. So, was
Yeah.
Aaliyah one of those artists, and who else were you listening to and trying to, like, find your voice within those singers?
That's a great question. Aaliyah, Alicia Keys was another one. This is like this one's a little left field, but Spice Girls, and I think that's what
Yeah,
I realized. That I was like, you
why
know what?
not?
Yeah, I when I was singing with them, I'm like, I don't sound terrible. Like, I don't know if I could be their sixth member, but I'm like, for the age that I was at, I think that's when I kind of realized that I had some skills in that area, was really just being able to kind of match certain vocals and certain inflections. And I think doing that was kind of just my first teacher, really. Just
Did you
imitate.
have a favorite Spice Girl? Because everybody had a favorite one.
I already know I'm scary Spice. Scary
Oh.
to the point where I remember finding like a black pen or black markers, and she had that Chinese symbol tattoo on her stomach.
Mhm.
And I thought I was an artiste, and I was like, like, to me, it looks the same, and I've got some jacked up scribble on my hip, and I looked a mess. But yeah, definitely Scary was my girl. Did you have a favorite?
I love the whole group, but I think mine was between Scary and Sporty because I'm very tomboyish, so I just love that she was just, like, comfortable just wearing, like, her sporty clothes, and then I just love Scary Spice's personality and her hair.
Yes, exactly. Her personality, her hair, her style, like all of it. All of it.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
No, so I'm here for those, and do these artists still today, do they influence your music, your sound, and how have they influenced you?
Yeah, I think like in an unintentional way, like when we go into the studio to create, I find that we don't really say, we want to bring in these elements or that elements, but what's really neat is after we'll create a song and other people are hearing it and interpreting it and experiencing it, a lot of times they can tell what I grew up on without me even needing to say anything. Like one that was coming up a lot for a while was Maya. And
Okay,
like that's another one. When that Fear of Flying album came out, I played the CD till it was hot to the touch. Like it was love, 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 love. So I think now, especially, I'm seeing a lot of kind of that Maya era, the late '90s, early 2000s R&B come through in my music, and it's just, you you naturally just gravitate back to the stuff that feels comfortable in it. And
Yep.
those are the albums and the artists that for me feel like home in music. So
That I love that you said that too, because well, one, Fair Flying was my album. I still have the CD. I probably can't play it. It probably skips.
I hate playing with
Yeah,
music. Yeah.
I played it so much, but I just loved that album. Like I would love to just talk to her about that album because it just means so much to me.
Yes. Yes.
But feeling that sense of like I don't know, that nostalgia or feeling like bringing you back to your childhood or feeling so comfortable. Like, so many people are going to get that from your music who hasn't listened to you already because it does remind you of that. It does remind you of those singers from the past, but it obviously it's updated. And what
Yeah.
I love about that too is that their music has longevity. Like so many people are tapping in to that music right now that weren't
Yes.
even born
We
around that time.
exactly. I love that you say that because you do always, I think like we create these things and we build it up in our head of like, this is how I want it to sound. This is how I want people to take it in. But to hear the authenticity behind how you take it in and to say you can actually hear those influences like that to me is really cool because that is the best way I think we can honor the artists that we love and that came before us is when we see little hints of it in what we do. Like that makes me really happy to hear.
Would there be like a song that you would want to like remake or do your own version of a song that you listened to growing up?
Yes, I'm like almost scared to try though, to be honest with you. Like in a perfect world, if I can wave a magical musical wand, what Aaliyah tapped into with We Need a Resolution.
Mm.
And what gets me about that song, that whole album, but that song specifically is how you can turn it on today
Yep.
and it's current, right? It can rival a huge chunk of music that's out there right now and it just has this timelessness to it, but it also has a darkness to it. And I think that's
Mhm.
why I've always related to Aaliyah artistically and to that song because I feel like as a person that like I present like happy and bubbly and whatever, but there's always been this darker melancholy side, especially that I like to explore in my art. And I think what she hit with that song with We Need a Resolution and her and Timberland together, that's the other piece. Like to have something that has that Timberland influence to it too. Um, yeah, that would be a home run if I could ever come close to doing something like that. And or Case of the X. Yeah,
Ooh, yes.
that's another one that like same thing, you can put that on today and it's just it's current. It's all the things. It's all the things.
Definitely. I feel like you should challenge yourself and do it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't put it out to
Mm,
anybody, which I feel like it would still like it will slap and you should just put it out anyways. But just to try it, because I think that would be so cool because like I said, like your music is reminiscent of
mm,
that time. So I think you would do it justice, in my
thank you.
opinion.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And you know what? Like, I think sometimes too, I have to remind myself that the exploration phase is also just where you might hit gold.
Yep.
And I think that sometimes I do stop myself at creatively if I'm trying to say we want to create a song like this. Like I know, for example, when you go into studio sessions, it's ideal if you can have some reference tracks, like have some direction. But I get so stressed out doing that when really I know I can't come out with like an actual Aaliyah did Aaliyah. No one's gonna
Yeah.
do it better than Aaliyah did. But in that journey to aspiring to that, there is some magic. And I think I gotta lean into that more. So challenge accepted. That's what I'm trying to say. Challenge accepted.
Yes, because I find I don't know if it's because of like the outside. I feel like social media is so loud. The media is also loud also. And I
Yeah.
feel sometimes it stops the artist from exploring or
Mm,
trying different things. I feel like before we were more gracious if they tried something and it didn't really work out. We still let them cook and then come back around to something else. So I feel like a lot of people are scared to do that. So
mm.
would that be something too that might make you more hesitant to try things, or you're at this point now where you're like, this is who I am and I'm just gonna do me?
No, for sure. It's definitely I wish I could say I'm at that point where that stuff doesn't phase me, but I do still think about it. Now I could say how I feel about that now versus 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, largely different. I'm far more in a space where we do really go in that I want to create something that I love first. And then I want to create something that resonates with others. And if I can hit those two things, beautiful. It is less about a specific sound or trying to live up to an expectation. But I cannot lie. Like that stuff is still in the back of my head. And like you said, with social media, that's exactly it. Like we're receiving all of these like
Mhm.
messages and snippets and all of it, that it is sometimes hard to just tune it out and go back to like the root of the why.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do more. Even we were in the studio last night and we were talking about that, when we just approach it with this mindset of like we're just adult kids. Like I'm just a baby lady. Like let's be honest. Like who gave me my adult card? I don't know. Like I'm just a big old baby lady, but it is having that space to just play and do it for the reasons why I did it when I was 7.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't, a lot of the stuff that I wrote and worked on, I actually was terrified for people to see. It was just for me. It wasn't about anybody. So when
Yeah.
I get back in that space and I can create for that 7-year-old little girl again, I think that's when my music is one, the most fun, the truest, but it's easier to tune out the stuff. But I have my days. I have my days where it all just, gets in our head.
Trust me, we all have days. Like I said, they're loud for everybody. I know for artists especially, but anybody
Facts.
gets it online. It's just it's crazy.
It
But speaking of your 7-year-old self, that's
is.
when you started songwriting, which I think is just amazing. So I want to know, like, in that time, like, what were you writing about? Like, where did the lyrics come from? Like, what were you inspired to write
Ooh,
about?
listen, I don't know. I like some little like 7-year-old on the playground must have really like broke my heart or something. Cause I actually remember the lyrics to, I don't know if it was my
Wow.
first song, but one of my first songs. And I'll give you a little snippet of it. It's so random, but it's like quietly and softly you whisper you'll be there for me. Crazy, you left me with a promise you promised me. Keeping your promise to me, is that too much to ask? Ask, 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 ask. Letting you know
Girl,
you're too free, 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 free. And then this is the most depressing line. You forgot about me. Like,
at 7?
why? Like who, how, where, when, and why? But what I do realize in hindsight now, I think that that was just, music has always been my way of processing my observations and processing, like, we're all just antennas walking around and you're soaking in experiences that sometimes are your firsthand experiences. Sometimes it's coming from like relationships that I'm witnessing or my parents or this like big adult friction that I don't know how to compartmentalize or what to do with those big feelings. Um, I think that I was writing a lot about what I was observing, and a lot of it too is imagination. You watch a show or a movie or something and
Mhm.
you get this whole story in your head. But yeah, I think that was like kind of my version of a diary, or a journal or whatever. But a lot of it was just observation, stuff going on around me.
Yeah, but that's still amazing that at 7 you're able to observe and really put that out there in
Mm,
a format of a song, you
mm,
know? And I
yeah.
think people also kind of like overlook the fact that kids take in a lot. They understand a lot more than we think.
Facts. So
So
that's so
as
true.
you were singing, I was like, oh my gosh, she was 7. But then I realized too, like sometimes you understand exactly what's going on. Like people try to hide different things from kids, but they know.
They know, 100% they know. And that's just it. Like I've always been a pretty in my feels kind of person. And it's like high highs, low lows. I take on everybody else's energy. And that's been who I am from when I was young. And I mean, I was lucky. I've grown up very loved, like from both my parents and all the good things. But like any household, there's the stuff that goes on. And like you said, yeah, kids are so observant, you feel it, you take it on, and yeah, I was doing all that when I was
Yeah,
young.
that's really amazing because I know for like some of us, like even singing songs, like singing Whitney Houston songs, like
Mhm.
about love and breakup, and us being young, we don't really know those things. We've never experienced it, but we're singing it like we've been through it.
That's so true. We're singing like we got hurt. We're singing. That's so true. That is so
Yeah.
true.
I listen back, like, especially during the pandemic when, like, the DJs were playing, like, a lot of songs, and I
Yeah.
would listen back and I'm like, "I was really singing this at this age?" Like, no clue what I'm singing about, but I really felt it in my heart.
Truly, like no one knew those lyrics like you knew those lyrics, but then you're like, what was that?
And then I think I'm like, "What did my mom think?" As I'm, like, a child.
Just belting these things around the house. I know what you mean. There's one song that I think of that it's an Amy Winehouse song. And Amy Winehouse is another one of my like love, love, love her. But it's a song called Take the Box.
Mhm.
You know the one. And I
Yeah.
remember the first time I heard it, like bawling, sobbing. And even really to this day, now that I think about it, I'm like, I don't know what the box was. I don't know why the box was being taken. Like, I don't know that I've ever investigated it to its literal meaning. But what struck me is it just, whether I understood the song or not, I felt it.
Yeah.
So that's the other, I think, cool thing about when I'm looking back on music that influenced me when I was young. Sometimes it was the lyrics, but sometimes it was the conviction of the artist where like you can feel the pain in Amy Winehouse's voice. You don't even need to know the story. You just feel it.
Yep,
It's pretty
exactly. Yeah, I
mhm.
feel like that happened a lot back in when I was younger. I feel
Yeah,
now I don't always get that feeling when I listen to a lot of songs. I feel like it's kind of a lot of like surface level stuff
yeah.
that I
I
hear. But once in a while, I will discover artists and they bring me back to that time and they'll sing with conviction. And I'm like, yes, like I have it on repeat and we're going through it together, even though I'm not going through it in reality, but
but you're feeling it. You're feeling
I'm
it.
there with them.
It's true. I really like that resonates hard, especially with I think as we become more of like a digital society and just the lonelier we feel as people and the more artificial stuff feels, all of that, like the pendulum swing, I think is going back to we just want to feel so we just want to feel, but like, we just want to
That's
feel
true.
something real again, right? And something honest and know that when we hurt, we're not hurting by ourselves. Like, yeah, I know that I'm craving that more, I think, than I ever, 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 ever have.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people across the board. They're just searching for that feeling and also that sense of community too, that they're not alone. Because I feel like social media made us very separate. Like
Yes.
everybody is on their own, doing their own business, building their own brand, and there's not too much collaboration or community that's happening, especially offline.
Yeah, exactly. So, so true. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Another thing I want to ask
Mm.
that I heard or read is that you did Canadian Idol. Is that
I
true?
did. Listen, it's a tragic story, but we got time.
Oh,
I mean, it's not okay, it's not that bad, but like the tea is as follows.
wow. Okay.
I was 16 and I made it through 4 producer rounds.
Okay,
Like
that's
at the
good.
time, it was pretty good. It's not too bad. But I had no intentions, like at all, on trying out. I had really, really, really bad stage fright for a long time
Mm.
that I didn't really start to shake it probably until like my early 20s is where it got a little bit better. But even still, like when I go out and do the anthem stuff, like there's stuff that has me physically on the verge of panicking. And I'm like, just do it. But once you get out there and you start singing, you feel better. But back then it was really bad. And at the time, I was working at a restaurant downtown in Calgary, and one of the judges came in, and I didn't really follow Canadian Idol at the time. And one of the servers came up to me and she's like, "I'm serving Farley Flex. Like you got to go sing for him." And I'm like, "I am not. I am not." Anyhow, long story short, I ended up singing for him. He basically was like, "It's extremely worthwhile. Come out, whatever, whatever," and made it through like my first couple of rounds. I'm like, you know what, I could do this. Got to my third round. Then they kind of give you some pre-approved songs that they want you to choose from that's cleared for TV and whatever. I get to the fourth round. I choose from the book, and I'm like, I'm not going to choose one song. I'm going to choose four and mash them together, and like have
Okay.
this whole whole idea. The idea was not ideaing when I went to do the actual audition. It went really bad. I forgot the lyrics. They like let me restart a bunch of times. I got nervous. I cried. It was brutal.
Oh,
So there ended my idol reign, but it was a good experience, but it was hard. Like I came out of that one feeling defeated for probably like a couple years until I got my nerve to get back in it.
it's so crazy. Well, first of all, I'm happy that you actually went through with it because you were like, no, from the jump, but you
I
actually,
hell no. Yeah.
yeah, you actually went through with it. So that's amazing that you got over your fear and just went for it. But what was I gonna say? I don't remember.
I
I
like
lost
where
my
you're
thought.
going. I like where you're going. Do it scared. Do it anyways. Made it through a few rounds.
Yeah, totally lost my thought.
That's okay.
But yeah, you did do it scared, which is like a big deal because a lot of people just would have said no and just continue on about their day.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I feel like that's good, but then also too, like I don't think people realize like the process of Canadian Idol because they just see like you going to the actual judges. They don't see the behind the scenes how there's like different steps to actually get to the judges on
Exactly.
camera.
100%. That is completely it. And like by the time you get to the judges, like they've been hearing about what's going on behind the scenes, so they know your progress. Like it's a whole. I was shocked on how packaged the experience was because like anybody you go into it being like, no, it's reality TV. It's real. Then you see the behind the scenes, like, oh, okay, it's curated.
Yeah.
It was a good experience. It was a really good experience, and honestly, a tough lesson in criticism,
Mhm.
especially at that age, you know. And there was some of the criticism that was so helpful, and some of it that's like it's a little TV landish and whatever. But yeah, it was a big, I think, personal step in taking criticism, taking feedback publicly, and knowing that you have the choice to either be better or cry about it for a couple years, which I did. But eventually, you got to get back in it.
That's what I was gonna say. How did you get over that? Because I
Mm,
know for a lot of people, it takes one experience to kind of,
mm.
put you down or lower your self-esteem, have you like
Yeah.
questioning yourself, second guessing, imposter syndrome. Like even I had one experience in work where I was like, it was terrible that I just did not do like PR stuff for like years because I was just like, this is insane.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. Imposter syndrome too is something that I feel like lurks around with me all the time. Like, you're in these big rooms, big names, and sometimes you forget like you deserve to be there. You earned it. That's why you're there. But I think when it came down to that, I had to think about the fact that I've spent more time in my life being good at this thing and more time in my life receiving positive feedback for this thing and more time in my life seeing growth and just good trajectory on that path than I have having a moment where I was down.
Mhm.
And that's a lesson that I still have to remind myself of too, but ultimately that I wouldn't have gotten even to that opportunity where somebody's saying like you need to hear her sing if you know what I mean, if people don't think that you deserve to be in those spaces. So
Yeah.
and also hitting the point where I'm like I am 16. I don't know it all. I am really scared. And when I kind of undressed some of the theatrics of some of the comments, it was boiling down to in a real life scenario, if you forget your lyrics, you either got to be quick on your feet, and if you can't be quick on your feet, you can't cry on stage. Damn good lesson, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, when you realize it's not personal for the most part, it was kind of like, no, they had a point. And if I want these kind of opportunities, I have to get myself to a point where I feel like no one can give me that feedback ever again.
Yeah.
And it's so I think that's what it was, is trying to find the little points of merit in it, but just remembering that like you've been on your path. You've been on your path in PR or whatever our experiences are. We spent a lot of time in our lives on that path. You trip, okay, you get back up, but you've spent years and years and years on that craft. Don't veer off. For one thing, don't veer off.
No,
And I'm really
definitely.
adding myself because then I'll get in like a down mood. I'm like, oh, but like for now, that's what I try to tell myself.
No, but I feel like it's so important. That's why I'm so happy I remembered what I want to ask
Good
you.
question. So good.
Because so many people go through that. Like I myself have gone through that, and then so many other people that I speak to, again, because we feel like we're doing this by ourselves, we don't even realize that so many people go through the same thing.
Mhm.
So my hope is that somebody hears that what you went through and how now look where you are, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
they see that, you're not going to stay stuck there with that feeling and with
No,
those comments. You can get yourself out of there.
that's right. That's exactly it. And I also find like on that point too, life is life is poetic. She has a sense of humor. Like years down the road, and I'm not gonna name names, like I could, but I won't. One of the folks, and I
Mhm.
can say with certainty it was not Farley Flex, because he's incredible and was always so good to me. But there was a judge who was more on the theatrical side, I think, of being just not as kind as they could have been. And
Okay.
especially like you're dealing with kids, like we're kids.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a break here. But years later, I ended up crossing paths with that particular artist because they came to the studio where I was recording my album.
Mm.
And we were both opening up at the same show later on that,
Mm.
and so and people have asked me like did you bring it up and blah 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 and did you talk about it, and I'm like, I don't need to, because life is poetic. She's funny, and that's just one of those ways of reminding you that it might not make sense in the moment, but give it some time and you're going to come back to it and be like, okay, okay, I get it. And the part two of that is also, as much as I'm like grateful for the accomplishments I have now and where I'm at now, keeping it so for real. Like 2 weeks ago on the phone with my manager, bawling and being like, I just don't feel like I'm doing it right. And I feel, like I don't feel like I'm
Yeah.
showing up enough. And there's just none of us, I don't think, maybe Beyonce or something, I'm not sure. But I don't think that any artist, no matter what they're presenting, on the inside is actually feeling like 110% they've nailed it. Nothing they can do better. Nothing they're struggling with. Nobody they're comparing themselves to. No way. No
Yeah.
way.
It's impossible.
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 Impossible. Totally.
Yeah, because you always feel like there's something more that you should be doing,
Of
or
course.
something should have went a different way, or there's
Exactly.
always something going on in your head.
Exactly. Very rarely are we just like, yeah, good enough. you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to play a quick game
Yes.
before I get into your new single "Proud" because I love that song. So I want to like know all about it. So we're gonna play a quick game of "One's Gotta Go." Actually, it's a little tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. All right.
It's a little tough. So I'm going to name some different categories. I'm going to give you either songs or artists, and one of them you have to get rid of. They will no longer exist.
Okay.
It's a little
Okay.
difficult. So
Okay.
the first one we're going to do female 90s R&B singers.
Damn.
One of them got to go. That means they're leaving and all of their music is gone. Doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Is it going to be Aaliyah, Brandy, Monica, or Faith Evans?
Oh no.
One's gotta go.
You know what, Faith? It's
Whew.
been time, and I'm grateful for everything you did for me. But I have too many core memories in my life rooted to the other three.
Mhm.
That's my pick. That's it. Period. Point blank. That's it.
All right. Sad to see you go, Faith.
I'm so sorry if you ever see this. I love
Okay, so this one is R&B songs. Which one's gotta go? Is it gonna be "Adorn" by Miguel, "Residuals" by Chris Brown,
you.
"Damage" by Her, or "Diary" by Alicia Keys?
Chris Brown.
Chris
Bye.
Brown's out of here.
Bye. Bye.
All right. R&B male groups. One's gotta go. Is it going to be Jagged Edge, 112,
Hmm.
Boys to Men, or Drew Hill?
Okay. Drew Hill. Sorry.
Drew Hill's going?
I know. Same thing though. I'm going back to core memories. I'm going back to like what my parents were playing. I'm going back to just like little me again. And well, not so little me in some of those cases. Too many core memories for the others.
Okay.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. We're carrying this weight together.
Yeah, this is a lot.
It's a lot. This is a lot to take in. It's a lot.
Okay, so the last one is R&B collaboration. So is it going to be Don't Mess with My Man, Nivea with Jagged Edge,
Hmm.
One Sweet Day, Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, Until the End of Time, Justin Timberlake and Beyonce, or Hate That I Love You, Rihanna and Neo?
This is probably the hardest one. Um, hmm. It's only because Neo. I have some thoughts.
Oh,
Neo, I'm sorry. It's
is it
it's
his updated lifestyle?
yeah. So by association, I'm sorry, but Neo. Oh, the music is good, but I think
The music is good, but yes, what we're seeing on social is it's a little chaotic right now.
a lot going on. There's a lot going on. So I'm gonna say, you know what, Neo, why don't you just take a sit this one out? You don't have to be gone forever, but just take a beat.
We appreciate the songwriting, we appreciate the music,
You.
but yeah,
Yes, yes.
a break would be good right now.
That's right. Yeah.
But let's
Mm.
talk about Proud, which
Yeah.
was released on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Such a super dope song. So tell us about Proud.
Yeah. So Proud is about my husband's, which is funny because we've been together for almost 7 years.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, but from the music that I write, no one would ever think that. They would think
Hmm.
I'm just like consistently going through it and going through it and going through it, which I think goes back to that 7-year-old me's style of writing, where just through my life, I've absorbed so much that I have a Rolodex of songs like that for many years. But this song was created. We were in Toronto. I was working with an amazing producer named Eli Brown, who's phenomenal. He produces for Drake and Party Next Door and Giveon, and like he's so talented. And the funny thing is we did a recording session already. We finished. We were wrapping up around like maybe 3 in the morning,
Okay.
and Eli was just kind of like messing around, and he hit a couple chords, and we were like, okay, but wait, what if we just like it's kind of cute? And so we ended up staying until 8 a.m. the next morning.
Wow.
And it was just one of those songs that just flowed. As soon as he started playing the chords, um, and I don't usually feel inspired to write love songs or happy songs. They're two things that I actually really struggle to write. And there was something about the music that just cued that just overwhelming sense of love and comfort and peace and all of that for me. And so the song is just about one, how I'm so proud of my husband, of course, but really just the safety that I feel I have in that relationship, emotionally. I mean, in every way, but specifically emotionally, where I feel like I can show up my full self, my true self, flaws, all the things. And never once has he made me feel like I'm not enough. Or when I'm unsturdy, he's always shown up as that rock. And so it's a song reflecting on how I'm proud of him, but I'm also proud of like how he loves because he's able to bring so much more out of me. And you know that he every 7 years he'll get a love song, and this is the one. This is the
Not
one.
every 7 years.
Yep, every 7 years. That's it. That's all. That's all he gets.
But you never know. It might come easier for you now that you're in like a healthy relationship. Well, healthy marriage, I should say.
Yeah, you know what? It's true though. It although we've been together for a long time, it does take time to undo obviously past experiences, not necessarily linked to the person, but even
Mhm.
just reflecting on the person that I was and that what was mirrored back to me in different relationships. And that's part of why you're probably right. It will be easier to write in this style because when I was writing before, I would start about thinking like, what did another person like do to me or whatever, whatever. Whereas the space I'm in now, when I write about him, it's still from the perspective of like, what does he bring out of me? What does he invite from me? So yeah, you know what? He might get another little love song or two.
I'm trying to help him out here. We're not gonna we're not gonna do the 7 years.
This man does not need another breakup song. He does not need to hear this. I'll let him
That
know
is
you're in this court.
that is so funny. But yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like because you're so happy you guys just got
Mm,
married and you posted it was really nice with the different cards um
yes.
that you had on your social media. I was like, this is so cute.
He okay, this the way his brain works, he's so elaborate and so intricate, but he for 2 years was making handmade cards for me. And sometimes we do it for each other. Like we're both artistic and whatever, and I'd make him some every now and then, and it would be to celebrate something, he'd make me a card. If I had a bad day, if I was having the imposter syndrome day, feeling low, like the one time I was feeling low and he did a Wonder Woman card, but the cover of it was a W for the will in Will You Marry Me?
Okay.
So good at spreading it out and never actually lining the cards up in one place that I just had no idea. And like people would be saying to him, like, oh, what's your plan? And like, you do you even have a plan? And meanwhile, the man is like a year and a half through the plan, and I have 11 cards already, but we had no idea. And yeah, it was perfect. We went out for food, we met some friends, and then came home. And in our apartment, he just had all the cards lined up and it spelled it out. And yeah, it was great. So the least I can do, he worked on something for me for 2 years. I can get in the studio for a little minute and make a couple songs, you know?
Oh, that is amazing. Well, shout
Yeah.
out to your husband. Shout out to
Mm.
Eli Brown for the beat. And I love the guitar solo. I'm like,
Oh,
bring on the
yes.
guitar solos that we used to have in songs. So good.
It's that. It is just that nostalgic piece of like when people were like loving each other. I'm so glad you liked that part because that was one too where I'm like, I don't really hear that happening in a lot of the music that I'm listening to,
Yep.
but it scratched an itch that I needed that. So I'm so glad you liked it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I heard it. I said, ooh, let me rewind that back. Because I've said it, I put it on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I
Wow.
want guitar solos. I want the saxophone solos.
Yes, all of it.
Like give
Get a
all.
flute in there, a recorder, I don't care. Solo it. If it's an instrument, get it in there.
Yeah, so I finally got that in Proud, and I was like, yes,
Yay.
so
I'm
good.
glad. I'm so glad. Yeah, that song was like speaking of the instruments, even things like they put live strings on it and just the type of stuff that I kind of nerd out over, even in
Mhm.
other people's work. So to have those pieces in my work, I feel really lucky.
It makes such a difference in the songs, I find.
Yeah.
So, such a good job that you guys did putting this all together. It is so amazing. And that makes me excited for what's coming up.
Yeah.
So, will this be leading to another EP or a full
Mhm.
album? Like, is there something you're working on now? What can you tell us?
Yes, I can tell you I am working on a new EP. It's going to come out this spring.
Okay,
Um,
good.
you know what? Honestly, last night we were kind of just putting the finishing touches in on a lot of it. And it's very much like how we were talking about earlier, where I used to sort of write from that perspective of another person versus me. And this is more of a place of me versus me, or me reflecting and going from some of the songs that I've released earlier this year, like Ghost Town and more desolate, darker, lonelier stuff, to ultimately arriving to this place of proud, where it's more of a self-acceptance and accepting love from another. And yeah, it's a project that I just feel like I've poured my heart and my soul, and just a lot of honesty into, and I'm really excited.
Well, I'm excited for it because I did enjoy While You Were Sleeping,
Mhm.
that you released back in 2021. So I'm always looking forward to see, what else you're coming out with, and also to see your growth,
Yeah.
from one project to the next, like seeing what the difference is and everything. So I'm excited for the new project to come out.
Thank
I do have a few more questions for you
you.
because I wanted to know because, like I had mentioned, you sing for the Calgary Stampeders, which is huge.
Thank you.
So, and opening up for like somebody like Ashanti, who is another huge audience. So that's like a lot of people
Yeah.
there, and you're kind of like opening for different
Mhm.
people. So how do you prepare for something like that?
Mm, that's a good question. I find that when it's a big crowd, I actually, even when it's a small crowd, I really go inward. And I probably should do more vocal warm ups and exercises because I don't do a ton. I do it like a few little videos that I have and some sound recordings that I have, maybe 10 to 15 minutes worth.
Okay.
But I find majority of it for me is like mindset preparation,
Mm.
um, especially for doing stuff at McMahon Stadium. When I'm out there, there's a lot of sound delay and there's a lot of technical things that can kind of throw you off if you're not in that right state of mind. And with the Ashanti thing too, it was like minimal sound check, like everything happened really quick leading up to it. So you kind of just have to figure it out on stage. And there's a certain vocal preparation that's important, but most of it for me is like, I need to put in my headphones. I need to just kind of wander off and find my own little space, um, and just have that time to try to calm, especially coming from a stage fright place.
Mhm.
That always wants to kind of come up. And I have to spend time like, no, 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 no. Like, we can be scared because we're excited, but like, we're not going to be scared because we got to run away. So you're like, it ain't all that. It ain't that serious. So yeah, honestly, my biggest preparation is headphones in, find a space by myself, do 10 or 15 minutes of vocal exercises, turn my phone on do not disturb. Like, though I try not to talk to anybody if I can.
Okay. And has that changed from the time that you first maybe did your first performance in the stadium to now?
Yes, yes. In fact, that's probably part of what shaped it
Okay.
is in the beginning, I'd like meet all these cool people and there's so much going on behind the scenes and I'm just wanting to like, wow, this is so cool. And then going out and realizing, oh, my head is not in the game. My head is not in the game. So I think was definitely an adaptation from how I first approached bigger performances and just kind of living and learning and being like, yeah, I gotta change that. And also just that gut feeling. Like I have two very different sides, the one that is social, the one that's out there, and the other one that genuinely recharges alone. And so I think kind of like my battery sort of tells me what I need that day. And it's usually like, girl, go plug yourself in, go charge up for a little bit and then come back when you're charged and
But at
ready.
least you know that, like, you know yourselves, because some people don't realize that their battery is drained and they're still like going, going, going and trying to give and, you know. So it's
Yeah.
really good that you're like really tapped into yourself and you know when you need to take a minute
Mm.
and you can't be like giving yourself to so many different people. You need to like keep your energy for yourself.
It's true. But you know what's funny is I've really only bottled that surrounding performances that
Mm.
I can shamelessly have be in the headspace that I need. I need what I need for that moment. In my personal life though, I'm still that girl that's like, we're at 1% and I'm like, what more can I do for you? Do you need my jack? What can I do? So yeah, we're figuring it out. We're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lifelong, process to learn. I'm like that too. Well, I feel like I'm getting better. I
Yeah.
don't really know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I will overextend myself a lot, but I think for me is because I learned that I get like alopecia when I'm like really stressed and
Hey,
I lose my hair.
girl, same. Yeah.
So I was just like,
Thank
I
you.
like my hair. So
Yeah. We wanna keep it as much of it on our head as we can. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so I've been learning to like, step back from things or like not stress out because like I'm a Virgo, so I want everything to go like so well all the time. And now I have to like just be like, Loreena, just go with the flow.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it's too much, back away. If you don't have a good feeling about it, back away. It's fine. What is for you is for you. You've
Yes.
helped so many people. If you say no this time, it's okay.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
gotta I gotta remember to. I want to keep my hair.
Yes, yes. No, I'm really glad that you shared that because I think it's so easy to overlook the actual physical impact. And I say this as I'm on like an hour and a half of sleep. I'm like, you have to get a full rest, take care of yourself, and say no to things that don't serve you. But meanwhile, I
It's
have not.
hard in this industry.
It is. It is. It really, really is. But I appreciate that you bring that up because that physical connection is very real, and I relate 150% on the hair tip, like that's also for me my first sign that like things are not going well.
Yeah.
Not well. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So once I learned that, once a hairdresser told me about that, I panicked, but then I was like, okay, that's not what you're supposed to do. And
Exactly like
even
the opposite.
exactly. And so I've been learning to kind of, try my best to
Mm,
like, not stress out too much, which it's
yeah.
again in this industry it's like really hard. Like I was working for Canadian Music Week at one point, and it's such a small team. So you're basically doing like 15 things, and
Mhm.
there's only 24 hours in a day. So then you're only sleeping for like 4 hours.
Yes,
It's,
yes. And everything's urgent. Like no task is actually really above the other. It's just all marked urgent.
yeah, everything is a priority because this person.
Mm.
It's a lot. But that last year, I was just like, y'all, it's going to be what it's going to be.
That's it. Honestly, that is it. And I mean, as I'm sure we know, well, really, even what you're saying, like the body will always come collecting. That's something
Mhm.
I'm trying to remind myself of specifically in this season. Cause like even this week, it was like a cram to try to get the EP done. And like I do work a day job as well. And so I'm trying to get my
Yep.
stuff done at work. And then we're gonna be in Japan next week and I'm trying to get
Oh,
it like
wow.
yeah, it's exciting. It's super exciting. But I am hitting that point where I'm like, if I don't decide when I rest, I
Mhm.
my body will choose and it's probably going to be a really inconvenient time if we're
Yep.
traveling. Like yeah, it's important that we can choose our rest time because
Yeah, because you want to enjoy this time too while you're working to get to wherever it is that you're trying to get to. And that's something that we don't realize either because we're just so focused on the big goal when
exactly
we're supposed to still enjoy this time where we're still like building and connecting and like developing. So
yeah
that's like another thing that I always have to remind myself because I'm just like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's
same.
next? And it's like, no,
Yeah,
relax, enjoy
exactly.
this time,
Joy
slowly
be
move on to the next one.
yes, I'm so with you,
Yeah.
so with you. Yeah, 100%.
Another thing I want to ask you because you're in Calgary
Mhm.
and a lot of the music stuff is based in Toronto.
Yeah.
But I feel like Calgary, just like Vancouver, the music scene is building. It's
Yeah.
it's getting bigger. People are moving. More people are moving to Calgary for work and stuff like that. But as an R&B singer from Canada, like what would you like to see more in the music industry that would
Mhm.
help you as an artist? It could be for Calgary specifically, or it could be in general.
I think we did an event last week. I was part of a panel where that exact question came up. And we kind of opened it up to the audience and there's a lot of creative folks and artists in there too. And we were kind of like, what do we all need? Like, what is the answer to that? But I think it was two parts. It was one, the investment in one another from folks who are living in Calgary. And I'm guilty for this too, because we're tired, we're on the move, we're on the go. But actually investing your time and your energy into coming out and seeing what's here.
Mhm.
Because like genuinely, there are some artists here that like world class. You don't have to go looking to find your next favorite artist in a different city or a different part of the world or in the States or wherever. Like they live downtown Calgary. They're that good. And I think that sometimes, especially because this historically was kind of more of an oil and gas type of city and things shut down pretty early. And,
Yep.
it's pretty easy to talk yourself out of not going to a showcase or not going to an event or whatever. But the talent is here. We just need the energy and the bodies, and we need folks to come out and really take it in and take it in a live setting. Like
Mm.
I'm somebody, I come from years and years and years of performance background. That's my comfort zone. Like the internet and screens and stuff, not my comfort zone. The studio,
Yeah.
I'm still a baby girl in the studio. Like it's fresher to me, but like a decade I've been on stage, and that there's a magic when you are having that exchange in a room with an artist and vice versa that's just irreplaceable. So I think the first thing we need bodies in the room, and people pouring in their energy. Secondly, there's a lot of really good grants out there, a lot that I've taken advantage of as well. And sometimes I think that folks don't know where to go or how to connect with some of those types of opportunities. So I don't even know if I could say we need more funding. Like, we'll take it. If there's more grants and more support to be had, great, we will take it. But I think it's a bit more of an awareness of what's available to artists and how easy I don't know, easy is maybe the wrong word, but how attainable it could be for folks to apply for grants and to go through that process and to mentor one another and all of that. So yeah, I think it just comes down to a sense of community, resource support, and people just knowing that too, that like we're not just country and indie and folk out here. We do that well. We do it really, really
Oh,
well.
yes.
But there's some brilliant R&B music out here that just it deserves all the spotlight, all the roses, all the things.
Well, here at Total R&B, I have to agree with you because there are some amazing artists that I got to discover from Canada. So being able
Yeah.
to give them this platform to tell their stories and for people to be on my page and discover new artists, that makes me so happy, especially when they're discovering Canadian artists. Because I'm like, yo, there's so many people here that are
It's
just
true.
so talented. And I feel like because our industry is so different from the US, like a lot of artists really have to do things on their own and at a high level. So
Period, point blank, facts, facts, facts. Like you
the
almost have to
creativity is like insane.
yeah. You have to like kind of show up as if you already have a team behind you. You already have a creative director. You've been through the machine 8 times, like,
Yep.
and you are doing it by yourself, usually on your own money, maybe a little bit of funding assistance. And it's that much more impressive when we see these artists that are excelling because, yeah, they don't have the whole thing behind them. So yeah, there's so much good here. So,
Yes,
so much good here. True.
definitely. And I do have to shout out Women in Music Canada. I did one of their programs,
Yeah.
and I was able to connect with like other artists and different people within the industry, and they actually were helping me because I was like trying to figure out the whole grant thing. Because I want to do stuff, and like just to have like a community of people that were like, yeah, this is what I did. Take a look at it and like, do it yourself. Like just to help me out instead of me trying to figure it out on my own, which would have took me longer.
Of
Um,
course.
was amazing. And then also Girl Connected was another program that I did.
Girl connected. Yeah.
I cannot speak like enough about Girl Connected. Like they are amazing. So if anybody wants to join, they have different streams where they teach different things and they have speakers that come in. Whether you're in the program or not, like even now they're having programs that you could just sign up that's open to the public. But that community is such a beautiful community of women that are in music that are just supporting each other, helping each other. So
Oh,
it's really great.
I love that. No, those are fabulous ones. Even RBC that you brought up earlier too.
Mhm.
That program, I mean, it's been a few years since I had done it, but that mentorship program was real life, tangible. It's not just the fluff where you just take notes and then when the course is done or the mentorship's done, you're on your own. Like these folks seriously mentored me through my career. They still pop up with opportunities.
Oh,
Like
wow.
yeah, they're really, really great. So I'd throw them into the mix too. So
Oh,
great.
that's amazing. But yeah, I'd love to like put people on to different things or like let them know because like you said, there is a lot that is offered in Canada within grants and different programs. And even if you don't like the program, it still opens you up to so many different people that you could connect with and build with and that you could exchange information with. No gatekeeping, like people will share
It's true. It's true.
and
And
it's so
when
helpful.
it's so helpful. And like I feel like we're both of the same mind. I already know. But it's also just great. The more of us that do better,
Mhm.
the better it is for more of us. So we want to see our community and see other talented folks rise because we do all rise together.
Definitely.
Mm.
So I don't want to keep you too much longer, so we're just gonna make a playlist before I let you go.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna shoot out some moods. You're gonna give me the R&B song that goes with that mood that you feel. Like the first one that comes into your head. If you have more than one, you could give more than one. Some people have been giving me three, so I'm like, go ahead, it's your worlds.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'll give you the first one. Give me a song that always puts you into a good mood.
Mm. There is a song actually that I recently discovered, Venetian Windows. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the artist, mostly because I discovered him maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Um, but Venetian Windows. Uh,
We're
and
gonna
I'm with
we're gonna look it up.
we got to look it up. I'm going to throw in a second. The other one would be Libra by Toby.
Okay.
And Toby is, I believe that he's based in Toronto right now, but that's
Mhm.
also the song that we got engaged to. So that always puts me, and
Ooh,
he's also
I
just a
love
nice guy.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so what's a song that you would listen to on a rainy day?
Ooh. Mm, Snow Allegra. It's not that I don't want you here. I want you around. I need you
Yes,
around.
yes.
Yes.
I want
Yes.
you around.
I want you around. Yes. 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 That's a great one.
What's a song you would play when in love?
Okay. Well, aside from proud, no, I'm kidding.
No,
Aside
you could put that in.
I
Promote
mean, but
yourself.
like, we got to put people onto some other stuff too. They already know. They already know about proud. I would say, oh, maybe I should have saved Libra. Hmm. Maybe. I really should have saved Libra because that's like
That's a
my
good
getting my
song.
feels, my love. Yeah, that's me. I'm gonna change my answer. It's gonna have to
Okay.
be Libra. That's my go-to love one.
Okay, we love it.
Yeah.
Now the opposite. What's a song
Mhm.
you would play going through a breakup?
Ooh. Giving on any giving on any day of the week giving on heartbreak anniversary.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good one. That
Yeah.
is a real good one.
Yeah.
What's a song you would play that you can't help but dance to?
Ooh, Toby Wigway, Fi. That one's it's extremely hype. It's so good. And
Yeah.
actually we walked out at our wedding to it, which
Really? That's
really
dope.
it was crazy. It was yeah, it was great. But that one gets me fired up.
What's a song that you think has the best lyrics that maybe you wish that you wrote?
Mm, that I wish that I wrote. I mean, I know that Teddy Swims Lose Control has everybody in a chokehold right now, but I
Mhm.
promise I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon. That is a song that I'm like lyrically and melodically, it's too good. It should be illegal. It's too good.
No, but see, it's good because maybe some people aren't really paying attention to the lyrics and now they will.
That's you know what? That is a great point. A great point. Yeah, the lyrics on that just that's a great song. Overall, great song.
And then two more. So what's a song that more people should know about? I know
Ooh.
you put us onto one earlier, but is there
Yeah.
another one that not a lot of people know, or maybe an artist not a lot of people know?
Yes. Um Kennedy. Listen, I know this is like probably cheesy to look her up, but I need to look her up because oh, she deserves all the roses. Another one that was a new find. Let me see. Go right into my liked. Kennedy, where are you? Where are you? Kennedy Ryan, but it's spelled Ryon.
Yes.
And she has a song called Sunny Days. That's it. That's it. That's the
So
answer. That is
we
the
have to
answer.
check out Kennedy Ryan, Sunny Days. Okay. Thank you for putting us on. And then the
Of
last
course.
one, what is the song that reminds you of summer?
Ooh, I would say honestly, Kendrick Lamar, specifically the Damn album. Hard to choose which one. Like, I love them all, but I'm gonna say DNA
Okay, yeah.
because when that album came out, or at least I don't know if that's when it came out, but when I discovered the album, it was summertime. I was like freshly living on my own. I like
Good.
windows down, cruising around, just like in my gave nothing to give era. And it just reminds me of like a summer day, just driving around, playing it as loud as I can.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So
Yeah.
yes, so we're gonna put that in. So thank you for creating a playlist with us. I
Of
appreciate it. And let
course.
people know where they can follow you so that we can keep up with everything since your EP is coming out soon this spring. We want to, make sure that we get on it and pre-saves and do all those good things.
Please, yes, please and thank you. At Justine Tyrell, I'd say Instagram is probably the main place that I hang. I'm on TikTok too at Justine Tyrell Music, and then Spotify, all the streaming places, but at Justine Tyrell as well.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with me. I greatly appreciate it. I love talking to you.
Cool.
Like I said before, I can't get enough of Proud, so I'm super excited for your upcoming project.
Thank you.
Everybody that's listening or watching, please follow Justine. Please support her music. And this is the Total R&B podcast. My name is Loreena. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at total.rnb. And I will be back next week with a brand new interview.